Star Citizen has just shown off some of the best looking fire effects that I've seen in a video game, and they aren't just for show.
Yeah! Look what I have created! I have made fire! I have made fire!
The latest Inside Star Citizen weekly report did a full VFX showcase, and to be honest, this is one of the most impressive areas of the game that gets overlooked, I would say, most of the time. Fog, clouds, engine fire, explosions, muzzle flash, condensation buildup, it's all from the VFX team, and Star Citizen has consistently knocked it out of the park. Now, without question, the interior fire system being shown off looks insane. I've never seen game fire that looked this good and spread in such a realistic manner. The charring and burning of the materials beneath the fire adds that extra sense of realism, even if spaceships would probably be built with mostly fire-resistant materials. And somebody did actually point this out on Reddit, but for gameplay's sake, it certainly is very cool. And with that caveat, it is definitely some of the most realistic looking fire I've ever seen. Sure, maybe some of the grass fire effects in games that spread naturally have been impressive, but to see the interior of a ship catch on fire and spread like this is amazing. For a long time now, the devs have been teasing systems that are being developed for engineer and maintenance gameplay, designed to make the interior life of a ship more meaningful. From replacing and repairing and rerouting power stations and capacitors, to pressurizing ships and removing atmosphere from a room, and even fighting fires manually. However, the previously demoed fire effects have been a little bit underwhelming, and for the most part, Star Citizen ship interior damage states have been, well, a set piece. Either the ship looks great and immaculate, or there's damage with fire coming out of the ceiling and pipes and stuff like that. But so far, it never spreads on its own or can be manually repaired from the inside, so it's basically just an on or off damage state. However, what they're working toward is something that's far more dynamic, and the new fire propagation system looks stunning and, well, terrifying as well. Can you imagine being trapped inside of a ship or station that's engulfed in flames, racing towards a panel to like vent the ship, or maybe even trying to fight it with an extinguisher? It looks epic and like it could really add to all types of gameplay. If a ship is burning and needs to be brought under control to save the cargo, or having a firefight with pirates as the ship burns around you, imagine disabling a ship in combat and then seeing fire through the windows as you circle around it. It looks incredible and will, without a doubt, add to the multi-crew gameplay potential in massive ways. Now, the VFX team is also showcasing their new lightning system, which is pretty exciting. Lightning is probably one of the best tools for indicating hostile environments in these alien worlds, and the new system looks really, really good. There isn't really much, if any, showcases of lightning in the game, aside from maybe charging a ship's EMP, which kind of looks like lightning, but we did get some tastes of lightning in space from some old gameplay showcases, but this is on another level. They also alluded to being able to attribute gameplay to these systems, so like potentially damaging systems that are struck by lightning. I would imagine that this will allow teams to create more dangerous environments where specific ships are needed, or there's no fly zones due to the weather conditions. It could force players to have to approach situations in ground vehicles or something like that for safety issues, and I've been waiting for this type of gameplay for a long time. Imagine a Jump Town style mission where players are all attracted to a specific zone, but now maybe the base is hidden by a perpetual storm and players have to approach with ground vehicles instead, completely changing up the dynamic in gameplay. Or maybe there'll be entire planets that have endless storm systems that can only be accessed via specific ships, maybe giving purpose to, say, dropships in the game, a ship type that has been mostly neglected when it comes to its actual in-game functionality. Now, sadly, all the cool stuff is just a preview of what's being worked on, and Star Citizen hasn't seen any significant updates in months. Most of us are still sitting around waiting for Star Citizen to do something. Come on, Star Citizen. do something. The various Inside Star Citizen episodes have previewed things such as starting to work on hole munching for salvaging ships, new base building tools, a new space station replacing the old Port Olisar, new mission concepts for the game, and the new Arena Commander updates, but it still seems like we're a ways off from getting even just a few of those features in-game. The team is currently working toward patch 3.20, which will bring the massive transforming cargo ship the Hull C into the game, though its initial usage may be a bit limited by not having hauling missions for the ship and perhaps limited usage of its tractor beams. The potentially much bigger element of the 3.20 patch is the Arena Commander module getting a complete overhaul. This is basically Star Citizen's quick match mode that lets you practice flying against bots and players, or even try some of the FPS combat in a less punishing way. And the Arena Commander overhaul is long overdue and seems to be very substantial, poised to allow for private matches and potentially fleet battle setups among orgs or just friendly players. Plus, the AI modes are also seeing major overhauls that'll allow players to engage capital class ships on a regular basis. It also seems like it's being intended to be the first place that players on a wider basis will be able to test out some of the upcoming features like the new Master Mode's flight model, before that gets pushed to the persistent universe. It all sounds quite cool and exciting, but again, it's all stuff that will happen at some point down the road. We don't exactly know when. So far, the biggest event of the year for Star Citizen has been patch 3.18 that launched back in March, and it added the new persistent system to the game, which allows objects and players and bodies and stuff to persist indefinitely throughout the universe, but it also pretty much broke everything in the game. 2023 seems like it's sort of shaping up to be the year that PES was implemented, and then it basically needed the better part of a year to get under control, which it mostly is right now, but again, what the average Star Citizen player considers mostly stable is still probably a mostly unacceptable state for a lot of gamers. Fans of Star Citizen are patiently awaiting the upcoming CitizenCon event in October, which will be the first in-person CitizenCon event since the pandemic, and there seems to be a decent amount of hype building up for some sort of big reveal event, possibly for some sort of major Squadron 42 news, but I'm not yet convinced that this will happen. Hopefully the game sees patch 3.20 before CitizenCon, as I think players need some sort of big content to sink their teeth into between now and October. Star Citizen always seems to be on the precipice of something epic, and the same could be said for the current state of the game. Sadly, that cool interior fire that spreads on its own is probably something that's much further out from making it into the game, but who knows. Last year, CitizenCon demoed quite a lot of neat features like personal scanning, master modes, and a new EVA system, but so far none of those features are in the game or seem like they'll arrive anytime soon. Master modes is at least being tested in Evocati, but only with one ship and not the literal hundreds of ships that it needs to be applied to, so who knows if that's around the corner or still a ways off. As always, it's tough being a fair weather fan for Star Citizen. By nature, and I think this is true for most gamers, we like to jump into a game and make it our home for a while. But Star Citizen isn't quite at that point where it can deliver that long-term gameplay loop for the average player. It's a fantastic tourism experience that delivers some truly breathtaking visuals that you can't get from any other game, but it still lacks a lot of good long-term mechanics that would keep players coming back over and over again. What upcoming features are you guys looking forward to the most? Are you more focused on the big ticket and probably pretty far off stuff like server meshing, or does the new Arena Commander overhaul look like it'll bring you back into the game for quite some time? Let me know in the comments. And up next, check out this Star Citizen piracy video showing just what's possible with the new soft death mechanics in Star Citizen, and kind of giving you a taste of what piracy may eventually be. As always guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.